Friday afternoon. It's 3 o'clock. This is Queen City News Plus Live, coming to you live from the Blue Room this afternoon. I'm Derek Dellinger, alongside anchor Morgan Francis, meteorologist Andrew Brightman, and producer-director Austin McCollum, on what has been a pretty busy day, at least as far as news items that are happening nationwide and also internationally. We actually do want to start with some international news today, starting in Greenland with some of the back and forth that is still going on over the possible control over it, because President Trump's still saying that he wants that island.
Right. Denmark has control over it currently, and we had representatives from Denmark as well as the U.S. meet earlier this week. Those talks didn't exactly go well. Both sides said a, quote, fundamental disagreement. The U.S. came out of those talks saying that basically they were discussing how the acquisition would happen, and Denmark is like, no, that wasn't what we talked about at all. Yeah. President Trump has renewed his push to acquire Greenland today, saying that he might punish countries with tariffs if they don't back the U.S. controlling the territory.
Yes, threatening with 25% tariffs, in fact, and along with countries such as France and Germany, those would be subject to these tariffs. Now, Greenland, we should mention, it's a large island off the coast of Canada, but it is under the control of Denmark. And we should also mention, too, that the people there that live in Greenland, as well as the Danish people, they pretty much do say, like, hey, this should be up to Greenland to decide whether or not they want to be part of the United States.
Only 6% have supported, you know, any sort of U.S. takeover.
There,
it's very few people want this to happen. There has been a symbolic show of unity amongst European countries. So Denmark has announced that European countries, its military presence. France, Germany, UK, Norway, Sweden, Netherlands, they've all started sending. I say symbolic because it's a very few number. I think Germany is just sending like a dozen troops, for instance, to Greenland, but it is a symbolic gesture.
We should mention that the tariff remarks are pretty much the first time that President Trump has brought this up, and he says he's said all this. He made the statements earlier today, saying anything less than U.S. control of that island would be, in his words here, and I quote, unacceptable.
Right. He says it's because of national security, but you know, others argue that the oil and minerals there are untouched, and this is a huge reason why Trump wants that piece of property, I guess, for lack of better terminology.
Yes. Other big story today out of Iran. We told you earlier this week that Trump had threatened to potentially have airstrikes in that country over some of the protests that have been happening, or at least the government crackdown on the protests. He has kind of pushed, he's since necessarily backed away from those remarks. We've seen that basically play out in the form of oil prices going down, but there's been a call from Middle Eastern leaders basically saying, basically urging President Trump to actually not go forward with any airstrikes.
They think these strikes would destabilize the entire region and shake the global economy. So there are major concerns that any sort of U.S. airstrike would just make the situation far worse than it already is. There have been 2,600 roughly protesters that have been killed by the government there. Some worry that number is just a small sliver of the reality because there have been internet blackouts since the protests started. As a reminder, these protests started because of the collapse of the currency there and just overall issues with the government. There's long-standing issues that the people there have had with the government.
It's a religious government, a theocracy, and it's been in control. You might remember Ayatollah Khomeini. He's been in control since 1979 there. He's been Iran's supreme leader.
80-some years old, right?
Yes, and so that has there's been some more back and forth, and these have really been the biggest riots and protests that have happened in the country since 1979. We should also mention that President Trump did say that he was somewhat encouraged by the fact that Iran reportedly did not follow through with threats to execute political prisoners. And we should also mention, too, at least in Iran, we are aware that protests have died down in the country because of that, a large amount of cracking down that's been taking place.
Right. And you know, while it sounds like he is backing off from the idea of an airstrike, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt has said that all options are still on the table. Meanwhile, the crude oil has gone down 4.6%. Since this action, or since word that Trump is kind of backing off these airstrikes. So, having some impact on the economy here as well.
Yes.
Want to get to the latest out of the case for Tyler Robinson. He is the one who's charged with the aggravated murder in Charlie Kirk's death. He is the defendant in the case. his attorneys are alleging that there's some sort of conflict of interest for prosecutors.
Yeah, the conflict of interest is a little complicated. So you'll have, but basically what it comes right down to is that one of the prosecutor's kids, or an attorney, and that
18-year-old, yeah.
was actually at the event and witnessed it happen, and so as a result, there is that conflict of interest. That's basically the wording. If I'm reading
witness
correctly.
witness the event, was at
Witnessed
the
the
event,
event,
and happened to turn in the opposite direction, I
Yes.
believe, when the shots were fired. So didn't see Charlie Kirk assassinated. Austin, you have something that you wanted to add?
The hearing just started, and these are live pictures, hopefully coming up here in a moment.
Okay, and this is something that is probably in the playbook for defense attorneys to bring up. They have to try everything they can to defend their client, right?
Yeah.
So this 18-year-old child of a deputy county attorney,
Yes.
attended the campus, as we mentioned, the campus event where Charlie Kirk was shot and killed. The child later texted their father in the Utah County Attorney's Office to describe the chaotic events surrounding the shooting. So the defense attorneys are saying it raises some serious concerns about decision-making in the case, and say that prosecutors rush to seek the death penalty, which, if found guilty, was what Robinson faces.
Yeah, and they say that rush for the death penalty in this case makes the entire prosecution, all the prosecutors that are basically taking part in the case, unqualified, and that is basically what is being said by the lawyers for Tyler Robinson, at least at this point. Again, this hearing, as you can see, happening right now in Utah, and we could be getting more details on this coming up just a little bit later on. We'll have updates at qcnews.com, and also coming up a little bit later on today on Queen City News at 4. Here locally, a big story that's kind of been happening here over the past about a month or so. It's still hard to believe it's been this long since the
A week
plane
before
crash.
Christmas.
Yeah, since the plane crash that involved Greg Biffle and his family. A memorial service held earlier today at Bojangles Coliseum, and we were able to be there for some of that. And as you can see, quite a few people went up there, and it was
Emotional,
very
right?
emotional,
I
and
mean,
some of the things that were said there at that service. And Biffle's niece actually spoke at the service, saying the family, quote, lived fully, loved deeply, freely.
that sounds accurate from people who I know who know
Everybody.
the Biffle family. I mean, we know that Greg Biffle used his family helicopter during Hurricane Helene to help people who were impacted. I mean, his impact was immeasurable, beyond NASCAR. And then in NASCAR, he's a legend. And at today's memorial service at Bojangles Coliseum, 3 of the vehicles that he raced in during his career were outside in the parking lot. So people got a chance to kind of see those up close and pay respects to him. I mean, he was 55 years old.
His wife,
almost 56, I believe. His wife Christina and 2 children. They were
Right
all
around
among
Emma.
the 7 who were killed at Statesville Regional Airport a week before Christmas.
Yeah.
Going back to the plane crash itself, we're still waiting from the NTSB. We should hear from them soon. Their preliminary report about what happened, hopefully giving us an idea of what caused the plane to go down, as we know, shortly after takeoff, turned around and tried to come back and land at the airport.
And what we know from what normally happens in incidents just like this, it usually takes about 4 to 6 minutes to get that initial report out, or at least preliminary indications. The full final report normally takes around 12 to 18 months. Finally, we should be getting really any indication, hopefully by the end of the month, from investigators as far as the preliminary cause of the crash. But again, everything still remains under investigation right now. They're probably still writing everything up on trying to figure out what exactly happened. Here locally, Federal Transit Administration Administrator Marcus Molinaro in Charlotte today, and actually due to be traveling the Blue Line, as well as meeting with some leaders, business leaders in town as well. This is coming as well, for lack of better words, and we all know kind of what's been happening on the Blue Line and some of the controversy that's been surrounding it, especially with what happened with Irina Zarutska and all the attention that has been on it mainly as well.
Our chief political correspondent, Andy Weber, is following this story that we'll have on Queen City News at 4, 5, and 6. This ride on the Blue Line that has we've known about it for weeks now, right? So this is not kind of a sudden visit. There will be a team that travels together on the Blue Line is our understanding, but it's not open to the media. And, there are a number of reporters today who are probably riding the blue line because it is a public transportation to try to, see what they're doing on the blue line and maybe catch some of the conversation because this is an important conversation piece for people who live in Charlotte and are concerned about safety on public transportation.
And safety, and safety for lack of better words, is still a concern on the blue line and on public transit here in Charlotte because even since the incident involving Zarutska, there have been a number of other incidents that have either happened on platforms or on buses or sometimes within the light rail itself. So it's something that is still being addressed, shall we say, and I think that's probably part of the reason why the Federal Transit Administrator was in town today, just to get a look at exactly what has been happening. We do want to get a check of your weather on what has been a rather chilly, especially last night. Good night. It was
not a single cloud in sight, though. Look at that.
Not
it's
a single
beautiful.
cloud in sight, but you still have to have your jacket out. And in addition to that, you're probably going to have to dress up in layers sometime this weekend because if I'm not mistaken, at least yesterday, what was I saying? Like Sunday going into Monday, we're going to be seeing like 18 degrees or something like that.
It'll be cold really once we get to Monday and Tuesday morning in particular. With the cold weather, Derek, I thought I'd see a little vest action from you today. Maybe like
we are inside.
It's casual Friday.
That's true.
Wait, we have vests on and Derek doesn't.
That's true.
You missed the memo.
Yeah, I did actually. Actually, I do have a vest.
One demerit for Dylan.
I do have a vest at my chair. I could probably get it during the commercial break.
Yeah, dude.
TV magic.
It's vest season here in the Blue Room right now. Now, we do have beautiful weather here, as we were talking about. Wrapping up the week, though, it is very dry. It's been a little breezy here with the winds out of the south. We do have an increased fire danger. No red flag warnings, but just something to be aware of here. Just try to avoid the outdoor burning. Another frontal boundary starting to move in tomorrow. Might see a couple of sprinkles here in Charlotte, maybe a couple of snow showers up across the mountains. All eyes, though, on Sunday, though, if you love snow, probably not going to love the forecast I have here once we get to your Sunday in terms of anything significant across the region. Pinpoint satellite, though, it is beautiful across the Carolinas right now. Really nothing but a cloud in the sky all across the region, not just across the Piedmont. Radar high pressure now offshore, and that is leading to that frontal boundary you see off to our west, getting ready to move into portions of Tennessee as we speak here with a couple of sprinkles near Memphis. Temperatures, they are cold, but warmer than where we were 24 hours ago. Lots of low to mid 40s here across the region. Temperatures middle 30s as we head up into the higher elevations. And with that, wind chill values, while still chilly out there, nothing like what we saw yesterday. And that's also reflected in just how our temperatures have changed over the last 24 hours. Jefferson is a full 20 degrees warmer compared to this time yesterday outside the mountains. Unbalanced, though, about 5 to 10 degrees warmer compared to this time on your Thursday. As we go through the next 12 hours, we're going to see those temperatures dip back down overnight into the middle 30s, but likely not going to see a freeze here in Charlotte. Coming up in a few minutes, my full forecast. I've got your full weekend breakdown and also how long this cold air is going to be sticking around. A few minutes.
You know, it's crazy how the roller coaster ride continues in Charlotte. We had such unseasonably warm temperatures, and now we're dipping back down. It's just life in the Carolinas, I guess.
Yeah, it's not quite Wisconsin weather.
Yeah,
no.
I still can't get over between the temperature difference between Saturday and Sunday of last weekend. So that's something that's there.
Impressive.
Yeah. So coming up, there is this really interesting and somewhat juicy lawsuit that's actually been filed about a couple of counties east of us in regards
You had me
to
at juicy.
Yeah, it's in regards to an alienation of affection suit that has been filed against a former Arizona senator who is rather well known. But the North Carolina connection in this, I think the couple
don't give too much away,
well,
Derek.
The couple divorced. I think they married in North Carolina.
Business, the lead
but the details of this have been filed.
Yeah.
It's all. You got to take a look at it. This is coming up
running
next.
out of music.
This is Queen City News Plus Live.
Welcome back to Queen City News Plus Live. It is Friday. You made it. We are
Yes.
almost to the weekend. Just hang in there. I'm Morgan Francis, joined by Derek Dellinger. Derek, got as you phrased it, juicy lawsuit.
It is juicy.
It was filed in a North Carolina court, but it involves former U.S. Senator Kyrsten Sinema from Arizona.
Yes, and you might remember she was a Democrat in Arizona, but she was known for being independent. In fact, I think she became an independent. In fact, I think at one point, and the ex-wife of a congressional aide basically is accusing Sinema of breaking up the 14-year marriage of that congressional aide and it has filed basically an alienation of affection suit. Now, in North Carolina, you can file basically against the other person, shall we say, that is involved in
third party.
The third
right.
party.
We've heard of alien of affection more and more, I feel like,
Yes.
in recent years.
I think it's more people just know about it.
There's a big case involving a TikTok individual
Right.
out of Raleigh.
Right.
Yes.
So this has kind of become a more frequent thing. But anyways, this is a former congressional aide.
Yes.
And
some details here. I mean, we're going to try to clean up the details as best we can because there's a lot.
Delicate way of
it's
putting
a
it.
delicate way of putting it. But the suit alleges that Cinema asked the employee to bring ecstasy on a work trip so she could be guided through his psychedelic experience. Also sent messages of romantic and lascivious nature. Also did reportedly say that the husband that was involved here, that apparently was the one that reportedly had the affair with Cinema, said that he did not know how to get out of the situation. He even told his then wife, out of without offending Cinema.
However, there was some sexting going on too, so it
Yeah.
makes you wonder,
And-
if he was totally innocent and all this doesn't sound like it according to this lawsuit, at least.
Yeah, and it was reportedly being, and I quote here, handsy at events. That was according to.
And he took his ring off, so it didn't look
Yes.
weird that she was handsy. This is all according to the lawsuit. But
Yeah.
the ex-wife, they had 3 children together, says she suffered damages in excess of $25,000 and is seeking punitive damages.
Now, this has been filed in North Carolina, and even though it doesn't necessarily say this specifically, what we're thinking here is that this marriage was filed in North Carolina. In fact, the lawsuit was filed at 5 in Moore County. In case you don't know where Moore County is, it's Pinehurst, Carthage. In case you don't know where Moore County is, it's a few counties to the east of us. And so this is part of the reason why we're able to get it, because it's public record now,
Right.
so the details on this still are a little bit shocking. They do go into a little bit more detail, but also in that same point, though. This is as much as detail as we're going to be giving you at this point, mainly
you can look
because
up
of
the
some
rest.
of the stuff.
Okay, so Trump, he met with Maria Machado. She is believed to have won the election in Venezuela.
Yes.
However, Nicolas Maduro then became president, and as we know, the U.S. captured him
Yes.
recently.
Yeah.
So Trump met with Machado, who gifted him the Nobel Peace Prize. This isn't a thing that you can do. We're seeing a picture of that here. And there was a text on the frame that read, presented as a personal symbol of gratitude on behalf of the Venezuelan people in recognition of President Trump's principled and decisive action to secure a free Venezuela. So recognizing his recent action.
Yeah, and Machado had made a point of saying when she initially accepted the Nobel Peace Prize that she actually thanked President Trump and also kind of gave a sense that he probably should have gotten some sort of recognition himself. It should be mentioned here that anyone who has a Nobel Peace Prize, once they get that medal, they can do whatever the heck they want with it. They can sell it. Some people have. They can gift it out to some people, and which is in this case happened. The Nobel Committee, though, has made a point of saying, hey, just because you can give that little physical piece out, it doesn't necessarily mean, and forget the microphone there, but just because you give that physical piece out, it doesn't necessarily mean that that the honor goes away to the person who it was bestowed upon.
Right. And I think, again, her saying that it's a personal symbol of gratitude, maybe that's the way, why she phrased it in that way, because there's been a lot of scrutiny over, Trump obviously wanted the Nobel Peace Prize. He wasn't shy about it. It's interesting because Machado, too, she spent 11 months in hiding in Venezuela before she appeared in Norway to accept the prize. I believe her daughter actually accepted it.
Yeah.
She came in after the ceremony.
Yeah, and this has been seen by some because Machado wants to be a leader of the country, and right now, who's going to be the ones who ultimately makes that decision? At least according to the way things are right now, it's the U.S.
Right.
And it's being seen as like a relatively blind effort on her part to, by some at least, to get into the good graces of President Trump to become the leader of Venezuela. Here locally, we should mention that the MLK Day Parade, it's going to be happening tomorrow, even though the holiday itself is not until Monday. But hey, it's going to be a very good opportunity to do it. Just keep in mind for events like this, you're going to be seeing some road closures. You're also going to be seeing quite a few people in town. I've had the unique opportunity to actually go down there and cover some of these events over the past couple of years, and you'd be surprised how long this thing goes.
Oh, yeah.
It goes for a while.
9:30 to noon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a big event. There are going to be thousands of people there, 100 organizations, and marching hundreds and all sorts of stuff. And it's going to be quite a celebration. It always is.
And it goes for a long. It goes a long way too, because it's long. I remember one time we were actually having to cover something else. We had to get there a little bit late. It was still going on.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
so, yeah.
Well, it's a big event.
Yeah.
So, how's the weather looking for the event? Though? That's the big question, right? So let's bring in meteorologist Andrew Brightman as we take a live look down Independence Boulevard on this beautiful yet chilly Friday.
Chilly day. And Derek, I was alerted that you acquired something.
Alerted? Did you perhaps see him walk in with it after commercial break?
Perhaps.
Yeah, during the commercial break. Because I remember I do have the. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just show.
Go ahead, do the 3 shots so I can.
We need to see our man in his vest.
So everybody's going to be in the vest here.
Austin, help me.
Add to the casual Friday.
Now we're ready for the weekend.
Give us the 3-box shot. Give it. Look at that shot. Yeah, so there you go.
All right, there you go.
3 good-looking
All
people
wearing
in their
vests.
vests. Let's go.
This thing's awfully warm.
Temperatures right now, it is chilly out there. It's middle 40s here. You need the chapstick, too, not just the vest, Derek. Maybe a little bit of moisturizer here. With the
already did that this morning.
The low humidity. Well, dude, you are on the ball, my man. So, temperatures in the middle 40s. Winds out the south-southwest about 10 to 15 miles an hour right now. Dew points down around 10 degrees. Very, very dry. They're still blowing snow up in the mountains right now. Temperatures staying below freezing. They might get a little bit of the natural stuff here tomorrow with that next front moving on through. Radar is quiet. We got no issues there, and that's going to be the case this evening. Now, as we zoom out there, and our next frontal boundary, that's going to be moving into the Carolinas. We'll see the clouds move in overnight tonight, and then the potential for a couple of showers and snow showers here on your Saturday. Mid-40s right now in Charlotte. Elsewhere here, a lot of middle 40s across the southeast, though much warmer compared to this time yesterday. High temperatures over the next 7 days. It's going to be staying chilly out there. A little bit of a bump tomorrow before the front moves through. And then temperatures, for the most part, they're just staying below average here for the foreseeable future. Now, once we get to next weekend and really beyond, we see those temperatures start to return to average here across the Carolinas and kind of much more seasonal weather on the way. So future cast in motion. Let's get things rolling here. Tonight, we see the clouds move in, a little bit of snow up across the mountains here early tomorrow morning. There's the front pushing through the Carolinas as we keep moving forward. Saturday afternoon, temperatures will get up into low to mid-50s here across the region. Everyone wants to know, though, what is going to happen on our Sunday? Unfortunately, it just doesn't look like the cold air is going to be quite enough to get the wintry weather across the Carolinas. I still think our in-house model is underdoing the cold air trying to move in here across the Carolinas, but nonetheless, the low-pressure system, very, very flat, not really intensifying, not really bringing in or creating that cold air that is needed here to see any type of significant wintry weather. This is one of the least promising models if you want to see snow. There are still some other ones that do try to get at least a little bit of a flake activity here in the QC, so don't completely mark it off. But unless as we get to your Monday, it's going to be cold. Temperatures solid 5 to 10 degrees below average. Now, what are we expecting overall if we see snow? I still think Charlotte could be one of those areas that picks up a dusting to an inch to mostly rain. But once you get really to Wadesboro, points off to the southeast, there is zero chance here for for wintry weather at this point. It's going to be all of the liquid variety. And even here where we have the blue shaded area, it's not looking terribly impressive here if you're hoping for any type of stuff that will really get you in the winter spirit. Just unfortunately, that's what's not going to be happening just yet. But that's why we wanted to wait until today to really start putting a forecast out there, because so many things were changing, going back and forth, and really wanted to iron out those details. As for the rest of today and tonight, we got increased fire danger here across the region, mostly clear skies until we get to about midnight, and then the clouds will be on the increase. Low to mid-30s here in Charlotte, mid to upper 20s as we head on up into the mountains. Tomorrow, a little bit warmer here. Maybe a sprinkle or two, too, starting down in the Sandhills. We get over to the upstate South Carolina. You see a little bit of the shower activity. You might even see a couple of showers late Saturday evening. Over to Charlotte, and there's those mid-50s on the way. As we head on over to Shelby and Gastonia, we'll also see the mid-50s as well. Mountain forecast, a little bit of snow possible both Saturday and Sunday, but it is going to be very, very cold as we get to early next week.
7 on Tuesday?
That is real. That is a real number, Derek. We're getting down to the single digits across the mountains in your pinpoint 7-day forecast. Still that chance of some rain and snow on Sunday. Not going to be a ton, but still possible. And then staying chilly right through the middle part of next week.
All right. We'll take it. I know those people up in the mountains would like some fresh powder
Some
versus
nuts.
the
We call
ice
it
that gets
pow-pow.
blown out of
Pow-pow.
those
Oh, boy,
machines
that
there.
word again.
But
That word again.
yeah, fingers crossed.
Pow pow.
Pow, pow.
Definitely.
Thanks, Andrew.
It's real.
All right, coming up, we have some pretty incredible video of a man that was rescued from some train tracks, body camera footage you don't want to miss. More Queen City News Plus Live after this.
There is some really incredible body camera video we're about to show you of a rescue that happened on some train tracks. This happened just a couple days after Christmas. Guy fell. He got injured on the tracks, and it came really, really close to being a little bit more than just that. Take a look. Close.
The nearest train is in 1 minute.
Okay.
Can you get inside?
Excuse me.
Okay. You're in the train.
Pretty crazy, right? So you can see there that this officers, this is at, by the way, Central Square Station in Cambridge, Massachusetts. They jump right there on the tracks.
Yeah.
You can see the man is on the tracks.
Couldn't get up.
Couldn't get up, was injured. And the train was 1 minute away, and they didn't have time to basically call the operator and tell them, hey, there's someone on the tracks. So they had to make that quick decision to jump on the tracks themselves and get the man out of there. So
And then get back up themselves so that way they don't get hurt or injured or even worse. So that's an incredible video out of Massachusetts there.
thanks so much for watching, everyone.
We're off on Monday. We'll see you back Tuesday.
Have a nice weekend.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.